Morgan, this is a game you just got to take care of business. But why are we, as Kings supporters and fans, a little concerned about this matchup with Memphis?
Because we've seen this before. And you go, what is this? What are you talking about? Teams below 500. And the Kings taking on some of these teams that aren't as good in the NBA. It's been tough to see.
They're 16-7 against teams below 500. And you think about the home losses they've had to the Pistons, the Hornets, even the Bulls when they were up big. They just haven't handled business. Harrison Barnes talked about it last week where he was saying how, yeah, we get up game for games like the Lakers and Bucks, but can we make sure we have that same approach all the time? And against this Memphis team, I'm sorry, you don't sleep on them. And I know you look at their injuries and you go, oh, man, they're not very good. Here's the number that jumped out to me.
What?
They're 11th in defensive rating. With all the injuries they've had 41 different starting lineups this year.
Yeah.
11th in defensive rating. Taylor Jenkins' teams play hard. They don't give a shit. They have one way of playing, and that's what can keep them in games.
And those are the scariest teams at times, right? Especially at this time of the year. But, I mean, they have the numbers to back it up when you look at their defensive rating and you look at the guys that are scrappy out there and wanting to play. And now Desmond Bane is back as well, and he can also be productive on the offensive end. So when I look at this King squad and I look at the way they play against the Bucks, the Lakers, and we go complete games, and the way they competed against the Knicks, playing more of their physical style than their own game, the Kings got to make sure to come out today, play with pace, play their game.
This Grizzlies team is last in most offensive categories, last in offensive rating, last in shooting, last in three-point percentage, okay? So you have to make sure they're not going off. The Kings' defense against the Knicks, and really the last three games have been pretty good. I was looking at it today. They had 20 deflections against the Knicks.
Okay.
20 deflections.
Yeah.
You know, De'Aaron Fox had 6 of them. That approach, that physicality they played with, the approach they had, like you said, against the Bucks, Lakers, Knicks, has to be the same approach against Memphis. You approach the game that way, you're going to win. And Sacramento last game, they missed a ton of wide open looks. 6 for 22 on wide open threes against the Knicks. Why were they in the game, though? They were in the game because they played defense. They have to have that same approach tonight.
So if they're knocking down those open threes, right, less deflating for the Sacramento Kings. But then, like you just said, being physical on the defensive end, especially against a bad offensive team, getting your hands in the passing lanes, playing it the right way, talking, communicating to one another. The defensive effort, I mean, how many times we've talked about that all season long and it not being up to par? It finally fell up to par the last 3 games. Can they do that against one of the worst or not so good teams in the NBA?
Yeah, and you play the next 3 games against teams below 500. Like, this is the time where you need to win 3 in a row. But we know that this team could also lose 2 of 3. So
we know.
What are we going to see tonight? I hope it's a different Kings team. I hope it's this Kings team we've seen the last 3 games that locks in, because if they do, then the starter's going to be chilling in the fourth quarter because they're on their way to a 20-25
You always
victory.
want this. You always want that.
That's the difference. When you talk about good teams can squeak by. Great teams will smack a team like Memphis around, especially on the home floor. Get the crowd into it before you hit the road again. Also, side note, one other thing, a little wish list. Keegan Murray, I want to get him going in this one. He's not shooting the ball well from 3 in the month of March. He's at 25%. Same with Kevin Huerter. Can they get these guys going? They need them down the stretch.
Can they get going, but also can Keegan Murray get himself going? Can he make sure that he is being more vocal out there, taking the ball, going aggressive to the basket, getting things done on the offensive end? I think for someone like Kevin Huerter, if you want to see those minutes, make sure you're doing what you need to do on the defensive end. And what we've seen Kevin Huerter do on the defensive end is just have a high defensive IQ, right? So if all your flaws could be buried maybe in the team defense, but you're doing everything you can, leaving it all out there on that end of the floor, he will see more minutes as well.
We'll be on Kings pre- and post-game tonight on TV. My final scheduled appearance of the year.
Scheduled appearance.
It better end in a W. Let us know what you think is going to happen tonight. Drop your predictions below. Hit the thumbs up and subscribe, and we'll see you live after the game.
Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo, the podcast that you know.